114. 114. It's a number I can never forget. There were 114 students in my batch here at GEA. Can you take a wild guess what my rank usually was? Given where I ended up, CA, IIM Ahmedabad, what would your guess be? Maybe first, maybe second? Definitely top 10. The number was 114. More often than not, I ranked dead last. And Sonu ma'am smiling here says it all. From being the last in school here at GEA to getting an All India rank 27 in one of India's toughest exams. Sounds like a movie script, right? Except there was no background music, just background disappointment. So let me rewind a bit and go back to the opening scene. I was in 5th grade, it was a state board, no exams, life was pretty chill. But then I decided to switch to a national board, ICSE. It was like moving from a fixed deposit, stable income to a crypto world. It was wild, it was unpredictable, everything was volatile. Failing 1 or 2 subjects every year became normal. My report card always carried a line that promoted to next grade with a warning. And that with a warning was always in a red pen. You know what my biggest achievement in school was? Not repeating a year. I was more like a penny stock. Low value, high risk, extremely volatile. And it wasn't just about marks. I had a full portfolio of achievements outside the classroom too. First, the school had introduced a detention system for mischievous kids. Guess who had the honor of being there during its IPO right on day 1? Yours truly. My parents were called to school so often, they almost deserved their own ID cards. The back of the school calendar had pages for teachers to write complaints. There were years I had to buy the calendar thrice because the complaint pages kept filling up. In short, by the end of school, it almost felt like I was born to fail. 114 wasn't just a number. It felt like my destiny. The sad part about that is when everyone around you keeps calling you, hey, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're good for nothing, slowly you start believing it yourself. After all, what's the point of working hard if you are too dumb to succeed? When expectations are so low, you subconsciously set your bar even lower. So I leaned into that label. I boxed myself into an identity, an imaginary prison of sorts. I became that mischievous, ill-mannered kid. Everyone expected me to be that. I thought that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't change it. I didn't realize, and honestly, no one even told me, hey, you are scoring poorly, maybe not because you are stupid, maybe just because you're not working hard, maybe just because you're not studying. It took me a very, very long time in life to understand that failure in exams didn't mean failure in life. And then, just when I thought my story was set in stone, life threw me a curveball. A tiny spark that changed the entire destiny. In 11th grade, our school introduced a CA foundation course. The beautiful part about the course, the professor didn't know any of us. No history, no baggage. The lectures didn't start with, Mridul, please go out and stand outside the class. Or didn't end with, hey, more complaints in calendar. It was a clean slate. And somehow, I found myself actually interested in what someone was teaching. The concepts made sense. The subjects felt intuitive. Numbers finally weren't just numbers anymore. They connected to real life, decisions, to possibilities, to probabilities. And because I was genuinely listening and answering in class, I started receiving compliments from the professor and the other fellow students for the first time in life. Hey, you are very smart. Hey, you have a real skill set. You know what? You will do well in this field. At first, I almost didn't believe it. After all, how do I, right? I had always spent years believing the opposite. But the professor kept saying it week after week, and slowly, something inside me shifted. I started believing in myself. My confidence grew, my interest deepened, and for the first time in my life, I started doing well academically. One professor, one course, one moment, one tiny spark of belief. And that belief started compounding. Compounding and investing is the most magical thing. Tiny gains added consistently, day after day, year after year, grows into something extraordinary over time. Turns out, belief works exactly the same way. One small spark can be your ripple of change. It can set off a chain reaction that changes your entire trajectory. From that day onwards, I never looked back. I started working harder. I started giving my 100%. I stopped asking, hey, am I smart enough? And I started asking, hey, am I trying hard enough? In fact, in this very same hall that we are sitting in, I appeared for my 12th exams. And in this very same school, when you leave today for home, just take a look at the toppers board outside. You will find my name there, Mridul Poddar, topper of batch of 2014. So, when we evaluate companies for investments, one of the biggest things that we look at is not just how their peak look like, how well they have done, but also consistency. How stable are their earnings? How well do they perform year after year, even after having a bumper year, even after gaining market share? Turns out, life works the same way. Success isn't just about one good exam. Success isn't about just one lucky break. It's about carrying the momentum forward. It's about building the momentum, carrying it. After 12th grade, I decided to do just that. I pursued chartered accountancy, and in my final exam, I secured an All India rank 27. Now, I'm sure you have heard the stories. Don't people study 15-16 hours every day for 6 months straight without having any social life to even clear CA? How much did you study for getting a rank? Let me tell you honestly, I didn't study for more than 6 hours a day for maximum of 3 months. You know what the difference was? I realized early on that while there's no substitute for hard work, focused, smart work can multiply your efforts. And I didn't stop there. Somewhere deep inside, I still wanted to compensate. Maybe overcompensate for all the years I felt I wasn't good enough. One of the long-standing dreams had always been to pursue an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. But I knew the odds weren't exactly in my favor. It's mostly engineers and IITians who score above 99th percentile in the entrance exam. I wasn't either of those. So I had to work even harder, even smarter, much more than ever before. Eventually I did. And I was fortunate enough to secure a seat at IIM Ahmedabad. There, I realized something very important. In investing, everyone talks about growing wealth. But the only thing which is even more important than growing wealth is to preserve it. How do you do that? Through diversification. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You spread it across various baskets. The same principle applies in life. At IMA, I knew academics were important, but I also realized that putting all my energy into just studies would be like investing into just one stock. I need to diversify myself. So I spread my bets across various buckets. I joined multiple sports teams. I was part of 4 to 5 sports teams in my college. I participated in case competitions and even went on a 3-month exchange program at one of Europe's best institute, HEC Paris. I experienced new cultures there. I experienced new ways of thinking. And yes, somewhere between the late night hostel gatherings, campus events, and various celebrations, I learned that even pausing to have fun is a part of real growth. If they are ranked students at IIMA not by grades but how much they diversified experience, maybe my grades would have actually looked a lot better. In hindsight, it wasn't just about winning a few tournaments or case competitions. It was about building relationships, and it was about building 3 main characters in life: adaptability, resilience, and perseverance. Qualities that have mattered far more in life than any exam score ever did. Being an all-rounder wasn't a distraction. It was an investment that continues to pay dividends every single day. We have all heard the quote, "Jack of all trades is a master of none." But how many of you do you know the full version? The full version is, Jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than master of one. Now, 10 to 15 years ago, if you were to ask me, I would have said, the kids who end up at IIM Ahmedabad, oh, they must be born geniuses. Oh, they must be very different from regular people like us. They would be some other category. But today, standing here, I can tell you with full confidence, it's people like you. Students sitting exactly where you are sitting right now. Learning from the same teachers, using the same textbooks, dreaming the same dreams. We are captives of our own identities. We live in prisons of our own creation. Story we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do. But sometimes all it takes is one person who truly believes in you to break you out of that imaginary prison. And more often than not, as life moves forward, that person has to be you. You have to be your own first believer, your own first investor. In investing, we often talk about asymmetric bets, where a small investment can lead to outsized returns if nurtured the right way. Believing in yourself is exactly that. A small decision that you take today has the potential to change your entire trajectory. Remember 114? That was the label, the prison I built for myself. But the good news is, labels are just market sentiments, they change. If I could go back and talk to the 114th ranked kid sitting right at the back of the class, I wouldn't tell him to work harder. I wouldn't tell him to work smarter. I wouldn't tell him to study longer. I would just tell him this. Believe in yourself first. The rest will follow. Maybe that's the only thing you guys need to hear too. So the thought I would like to leave you from here today is, when your moment comes, will you be ready to believe in yourself first? Thank you.